lived on board.
The Duke of Edinburgh slept in another cabin, also with a single bed. But this is the room expected to receive most public attention, the honeymoon suite where Prince Charles and Princess Diana began their marriage. And there are reminders of the couple all over the yacht. A former Commodore has overseen the details. He says Britannia has been superbly restored, but there is something missing.
The people themselves are not here. Obviously the royal family are not using it any longer. And of course the Royal Yachtsmen themselves. It was the Royal Yachtsmen who gave the heart to Britannia. They made her the ship that she really became.
Nonetheless, the public are eager to get on board and tickets are selling fast. Linda Kennedy, ITN, in the Port of Leith.
And that's all from us for now, but it'll be back with the early evening news at 5:40.
And we'll both be here on Monday at 12:30. Till then, goodbye. Have a good weekend.
Goodbye.
Hello, good afternoon. A spell of wet and windy weather for us all in the next 24 hours. The weather at its worst across Scotland later today and tonight, and for a time tomorrow. Some severe gales there and even some snow on the hills, so do take extra care on the roads in the north during the next 24 hours. For all of us, it's an unsettled spell. The chart this morning shows a deep area of low pressure to the northwest there. Gale force winds washing around that as well. The weather front's bringing heavy rain for many. And through tonight, as the low moves away to the east, you can see those winds over Scotland turn more to the north, so severe weather on the way, especially for the north. Now already today we've seen the rain building up in the north and west early this morning and sweeping south and east, some very heavy rain around, so even if you haven't got the strong winds yet, the rain is making difficult conditions on the roads. Do take care. So for the rest of the afternoon, in the southeastern corner, only spots of rain. Elsewhere, a lot of rain, some heavy rain in places, gradually turning more showery in the north and west, but very windy everywhere with gales in places. And then overnight tonight, as the rain comes into the southeast, it will turn more showery in the north, but stay very windy. And there you see those snow showers coming along. Do take care. Here's the summary.
To live and die among the sadistic.
Yes, she's my daughter.
Amid the perverse.
I need you to help me catch the man who did this to you.
Is to live and die with a fear so great.
There's something about the back doors of the van.
The terror so strong.
We are dealing with a monster.
The manipulator.
I was accused of kidnapping a prostitute.
The sacrifice.
And torturing her.
The unjust.
Or kicking her out in the street.
Linda LaPlante. Trial and Retribution 2, Sunday and Monday at 9 on ITV.
Next, the main stories in London today, plus lifting news, the Wonderbra celebrity sell-offs.
Come on and save 40% on your new city. 40% off for you and me.
598 BFS 850 extra covers free. BFS 699 BFS
4 years free credit, baby, that's true. Free for a year, I just had to.
This great combination offer ends Sunday at DFS.
When I decided to buy a mobile phone, just my luck to come across people who made it seem so complicated.
This phone's cheaper, but the calls are more. This phone's more, but the message service is free.
Aren't there more than 2 networks?
We only connect to 2.
But then I talked to Angus at the Carphone Warehouse. He asked me some simple questions to make sure I got the right phone. He also guaranteed the lowest price.
And he wasn't trying to push one network because they're independent.
Sounds wonderful.
Why didn't I just go there in the first place?
New Salon Selective's volumizing shampoo with ceramide gives your hair body and movement. So no matter how lifeless you are, your hair needn't be.
All right, now.
Bosch appliances might look stunning, but first and foremost, they're designed to be used. Take a closer look, and you'll find they're also surprisingly affordable and extremely practical, because Bosch designed them to work beautifully in any kitchen. Bosch. Excellence comes as standard.
Thank you very much. The award show. Thank you very much. Where you choose the winners. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so very much.
The National Television Awards, coming soon on ITV.
A new face at Sun Hill quickly makes friends and adversaries.
What's she like? Young.
Is it her enthusiasm for the job?
Hey, what a rush!
That they don't like? The bill.
We listen. And that way we learn. Try it.
Yes, Sarge.
Tuesday at 8 on ITV.
In half an hour, the Jerry Springer Show. First, London Today with Angus Scott and Kate Harding.
Hello, good afternoon. Fury unleashed against police over deaths in custody. The families of Londoners who've died while being held by the Met claim they've been silenced. Today they're protesting as police address the problem at a conference from which many were barred.
We should have been the first choice in that conference today. We shouldn't have to beg and demand to be heard. We will not be forgotten.
In a moment, the families of those who've died speak of how they believe police can cut the number of deaths in custody. Plus, hunting the sadistic animal killers, cat owners in North London are told to keep their pets inside following a string of decapitations. And in the pink, the shocking semi that's proved too colourful for councillors. Families of people who've died in police custody in London have been demonstrating outside a conference aimed at preventing similar tragedies. They're angry because they were initially excluded from the discussions. One of the relatives was only allowed in following protests. And she heard Home Office Minister Alan Michael admit to the Westminster Conference that the number of deaths in custody is on the increase.
The message isn't new, but never before have these protesters had the chance of reaching their target audience in such numbers. The Police Complaints Authority is hosting a conference on deaths in custody. Top officers and politicians here at Church House to talk about a growing problem as new figures for April 97 to March 98 show.
Some 68 people died in police custody or otherwise in the hands of the police during that 12-month period. That represents an increase compared with the previous year, which was itself higher than the average over the previous 7 years. We must do all we can to reverse that trend. Those figures show that we cannot afford to be complacent. We must continue to look rigorously and objectively to learn the lessons of every case.
Brenda Weinberg's brother, Brian Douglas, died in police custody. Today, she was the only relative allowed to speak to the conference, and only after inviting herself to do so.
The persistent failure of the CPS, aided by the PCA or the police force itself, to bring any charges or suspension or even dismissal following a death in custody appears to confirm that truth and justice are entirely separate when a black person is killed.
Myrna Simpson wasn't invited to come inside. Her daughter Joy Gardner died after police detained her for deportation, gagging her with 13 feet of tape.
These people will not let her into the conference. This is a disgrace.
And we're going to carry on until she goes in. Let her in! Let her in!
Eventually, the organisers relented. Mrs. Simpson allowed in to hear the debate. The protesters might have been locked out, but conference goers breaking for tea still couldn't escape their anger. In Westminster, this is Richard Gaisford for London Today.
And Brenda Weinberg has just come from the conference. As we heard, her brother Brian died in police custody after his arrest in 1995. Brenda, have you been satisfied by anything you've heard this morning?
Well, no, not really. I mean, there's a lot of statistics bandied about, but no one's actually saying that police officers causing the death of black people in custody is a problem. We're hearing about mental illness and drunks and misdiagnosis. Where is a racist officer that hits an individual, a member of the public that happens to be black, over the head and kills him?
Does it seem?
Where are those statistics?
Does it seem it is just words and statistics and nothing else, and no action seems to be taken?
At the present time, yes. I mean, the conference hasn't ended and doesn't until 4 o'clock, so I shall go back this afternoon and see what else they have to say. But so far, I'm not impressed. What
exactly, then, do you want and people in the same situation want?
For a start, we want it recognised that the repeated deaths of black individuals in custody is a problem. Somebody stand up and say it is a problem, admit it's a problem. That's one of the things we want. The second thing we want is change. When they sit down at a table and ask us what we want, we will discuss these changes with them and hopefully they'll come about.
So what are some of the changes? Are you not happy that the Police Complaints Authority looks into deaths like this?
Not if they use the police themselves as investigators, no. How could we possibly be? That's saying that the police are therefore going to investigate themselves unbiasedly. We don't accept that.
The Home Office Minister does seem to suggest, though, that he is on your side in one respect, that he wants the families to get more information. That's a promising start, isn't it?
That's a start.
But you obviously don't feel it goes far enough.
Well, no, it doesn't go far enough. To me, the issue is slightly fudged by saying that it's the legal process that denies families disclosure. If the individuals involved, the people in power or of influence, etc., involved, decide that there is to be disclosure to the families, then those laws can be changed. Don't hide behind legalese, change them.
OK, Brenda, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you.
Time now for a look at the rest of the news headlines. Here's Kate Harding. Kate.
Good afternoon. Police have revealed that a woman was kidnapped from an East London street by a gang and subjected to an 18-hour sex attack. The 29-year-old victim was bundled into the back of a car by 3 men in Leabridge Road, Leighton. The woman managed to escape when the vehicle slowed down. The car is believed to be a battered mustard-coloured Ford Sierra. Police have launched a manhunt after a prisoner escaped from Horseferry Road Magistrates Court in central London this morning. James Hazel, who's 19, was appearing on a robbery charge. Securicorps security staff gave chase but failed to catch him. A 23-year-old man also tried to escape but was recaptured. Thousands of commuters faced delays on one of the capital's main commuter lines this morning after fire closed a track. Up to 30 firefighters were called to the blaze under arches in South Bermondsey. The track between there and London Bridge is expected to be reopened later this afternoon. Sport and the World Heavyweight Championship fight between Evander Holyfield and London's Lennox Lewis moved a step closer today. Holyfield signed contracts for the match late last night. It's estimated he will earn £15 million, while Lewis will get $5 million. The gambling city of Las Vegas is expected to host the unification clash in February or March next year. Lewis is now thought to be ready to sign. That's it from me today. Back to Angus.
Kate, thank you very much indeed. A monument to Victorian ingenuity and engineering, the Palmhouse at Kew Gardens is 150 years old this weekend. When it opened, it brought visitors exotica from the furthest reaches of the British Empire. The stunning glass structure astonished and enchanted 19th century London. Queen Victoria was so captivated by its charm, she visited the Palmhouse 3 times in its first year. The celebrations will include special tours and talks on the Tropicana, all done by guides in Victorian dress. Gail Bromley is a botanist at Kew Gardens. Gail, looking very dashing, I may say.
Thank you, Angus.
It must have been absolutely revolutionary when this opened in Victorian times, mustn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think it was one of the most sort of stunning things to happen in London. The thoughts that there was wonderful tropical plants growing here in a space inside London's environs that people could visit and be excited by and look at the wonderful architecture and the wonderful sort of tropical material that was being brought in was certainly something very innovative at its time.
It certainly was. I mean, mean, you think of London back in those times when it was misty and horrible and the fog had set in. You know, why bring all those tropical plants in?
Well, I think it was very much part of our remit at Kew, which was to house plants for the world and to display them to the public. And therefore, it was an area that we could excite and entrance people about, and also get them to see how much value there was in the world around them in terms of the material in the tropics and how we use that in our everyday lives, everything from cocoa to coffee to tea, and plants that were important to industry at the time. So it was useful for us to house them, to display them, to excite and interest people about them.
Was there anything... look after your hat.
I am, yes. It keeps on falling off.
Was there anything that was there in 1840 that would still be around today?
Well, we have some plants that are actually here because the house actually opened in 1848, and we have a wonderful plant that was collected in the 1700s, which is here, which is a cycad, and that was moved into the Palmhouse, and that is still here, one of the oldest pot plants in the world.
Excellent. Gail, have a great weekend.
Thank you very much, and I hope people come and enjoy it.
I hope they do too. Thanks very much indeed.
You're welcome.
The RSPCA is investigating what seems to be a spate of cat killings in North London. Residents in Barnet, Hornsey and Palmer's Green have found their pets dead and mutilated, with heads, tails and limbs cut off.
There used to be 4 cats in Yvonne Trumbull's house. Now there are only 3. Betty, Mum and Oliver's companion Mabel is no longer. She was found nearby with her head and tail neatly sliced off. One of a spate of similar cat decapitations in this part of London in recent months. And investigators find that the tidy, clinical way the moggies are murdered is sinister.
It's all a very, very clean cut, severing the head from the body. The decapitation is immaculate. It's almost a section. And certainly in this instance, there was no blood.
Life has changed dramatically for Betty, Mum and Oliver. They used to enjoy the outdoor life. Now they're confined to the house.
In fact, all 3 of them don't want to go out. It's as if they know. And they just go out for about 5 minutes and rush back in again.
In Palmer's Green, it's the same story of staying indoors for Phoebe and Barclay, ever since their friend Tempura became another victim.
The cat was found without its head. The head was about a metre away from the body when I actually found it in the neighbour's garden.
It does concern me. It does seem to be a very dark and sinister thing to be happening, and obviously there's a great deal of concern about the reasons why and who's doing it.
The RSPCA want to hear of other incidents to help them catch the cat killer. Phoebe and Barclay, meanwhile, wonder if they'll ever get out again to catch a mouse. In North London, this is Hank Gordon for London Today.
Time for a break now. When we come back, the fight against cellulite. An update on our volunteers who've chosen different weapons in the battle against the orange peel effect. Plus, giving her full support, the new Wonder Bra girl tells me why she's raising cash with celebrities' designs.
Buy a pair of glasses from Dolland & Aitchison and get a second pair absolutely free.
Perfect. In all things electrical, there's negative and positive.
Negative. Positive.
So if you need the lowest price guaranteed, come to Comet. With Positive, we can help.
When I'm asked what to do with chicken legs, I always say wear slacks. But if you're bashing out a balti and you don't add your bisto, you won't carry favour with me.
The kids were getting restless, so we stopped for something to eat. Halfway through the meal, the waiter very gently explained that we weren't in a restaurant at all. It was his house.
Nobody ever goes to Cyprus just once.
Hello again. Cellulite, the scourge of many women's lives. But just how easy is it to beat the bumps once and for all? In the summer, London Today found 3 volunteers willing to try out a variety of treatments. They differ in cost and discomfort, but all claim to help banish the dreaded orange peel effect. So, how have our guinea pigs been doing? Liz Wickham has this progress report.
It wasn't just a question of losing weight, but losing the lumpy, bumpy result of toxins that have built up after years of poor diet and lack of exercise. Sarah was in the hands of Martyn Davies, a West End therapist who prescribed weekly deep massages, mud treatments and a diet free of wheat, dairy produce and alcohol. Total cost for 6 weeks, £298.80. Anne went to Dr. Elizabeth Dancy in Harley Street, where in addition to diet and massage, she had multiple weekly injections called mesotherapy. Cost for 6 weeks, £960. Margaret was going it alone to save money. She was brushing her skin daily to massage the lymph system into action, using an anti-cellulite cream and trying to lay off the takeaways. Total cost £33.50. So how did they do?
To start with, the treatment was very painful. I did wonder if I would come back, but I've quite relaxed, and I have to admit that I do enjoy the weekly sessions now.
I think she's lost about half a stone in weight. Also, her legs were, instead of being straight as they are now, there was a little lump there, which is no longer there.
Anne attended her mesotherapy appointments for 3 weeks and then failed to turn up, saying they were too painful.
I'm always disappointed when my clients don't follow it through, because it's rare. Most people do follow their treatment through to the end, and they do very well, and I'm just disappointed on her behalf.
Margaret soldiered on alone. She could cope with skin brushing and massage, but got confused by the diet books.
One says give up dairy products, alcohol, another says give up coffee, all other toxins, and if you were to give up everything, there's nothing really left to eat. There's a definite improvement, and I think if I stick to the regime, that it should improve more.
Everyone's conclusion was that you can get rid of cellulite, but it takes time and commitment. Money helps, but the crucial factors are determination and self-discipline to clean up your diet and exercise regularly. The one thing Elizabeth Dancy made me do, which I think really worked, was go on a wheat-free diet. No bread, no pasta, none of that stuff. And that, I think, really made a difference. That was until I faced the irresistible, an American hot pizza with extra chili oil. Oh well. In Harley Street, this is Liz Wickham for London Today.
Hard luck, Liz. Celebrity customised bras will go under the hammer tonight in Pall Mall to raise money for a cancer charity. Nearly 100 bras have been donated for the sale, many of them designed or signed by celebrities. A short time ago, the new face of Wonder Bra, Adriana Sklerenikova, her name's not important, something else is, launched a fundraising campaign for breast cancer research. Tonight, she'll also be lending support to the auction, along with a host of stars, including Joanna Lumley, Cherie Blair and Cilla Black. Well, before that launch, I spoke to Adriana and auction organiser Nina Baru, and I started by asking Nina to tell us about some of the designs.
Oh, yes. Well, there's lots and lots of different sorts. They go from something like this, which is very, very floral. This is by Elizabeth Emanuel, who actually made Diana's wedding dress. And, I mean, it's just gorgeous. Look, I don't know where I'm showing to you.
No, that's fine.
But it's fabulous. And then you've got things sort of like this one, which is just fun, and this is by Jimmy Savile.
Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, he was there at the Great North Run 2 weeks ago, and I think one of the girls sort of got hold of him and got him to do a bra very quickly.
Lovely. Adriana, what do you make of them all?
So, my favourite one would be this one.
Is it?
It's so sophisticated, look at it.
An elegant one.
I would get married in this one.
Would you?
Yeah, isn't it romantic? It's beautiful. Flowers,
They're all
innocent.
They are lovely.
They are
You're used to wearing slightly different ones than these, though, aren't you?
A little simple. More simple than that.
Now, tell us about the cause that it's all in aid of.
Well, we power walk marathons in these bras. They all get worn to walk 26 miles before they actually get sold. All celebrities have put their names to all of them. And we're going to have an auction this evening at the Mall Galleries, and we're hoping that we're going to sell them all and raise thousands more pounds for breakthrough breast cancer research.
Now, Nina, you actually got involved with breast cancer and then, very ironically, developed cancer yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I came up with this idea. I don't know where it came from. I say now that it's been given to me, but I just came up with the idea, and it was going to be sort of a thing, because I work in the media, that I could get together with some friends and we could raise some money. And 6 months after we did the first marathon, I discovered that, that I had got breast cancer.
So it's something very close to your heart now.
Yeah, I mean, it just made me go completely into wanting to sort of raise awareness, because I don't think that I'm an ignorant woman, but I was very ignorant to breast cancer. I didn't know anybody, I didn't know anything about it. And I think there's a lot of women out there that really turn a blank eye to it. And, you know, 1 in 12 women get breast cancer, and I never ever thought I would be that one. I always thought I was in the 11, and I think a lot of women do.
Adriana, if you were going to design one of these, what would it be like?
I already said that it would be full of red hearts and football balls.
Would it? And footballs as well?
Yes.
Are you keen on football?
Love football.
Do you? Do you watch...
put it on my bra.
Would you? Do you watch much football when you're over here?
Well, England has pretty good footballers. I love football here.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Are there any you like especially, or couldn't you say?
I can't really say.
Can't you? You're a little bit shy. All right, well, I hope the auction goes very well.
Okay.
And thank you both very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Wish I played football. To showbiz now, and a new tour and a new album for the man who's been strumming his guitar for 40 years. He is, of course, Hank Marvin, best known as one of the Shadows. He kicks off his 43-date UK tour tonight in Guildford. Before I talk to him and his son, let's take a quick look at him in action. Is here with his son Ben, who also plays the guitar. Welcome to London. Welcome back to London, I should say.
Thank you, Angus.
I mean, you left the north years ago, didn't you, to come to London?
4 or 5 years ago, yeah.
Yes, to start it all off, didn't you?
That's right. Well, we came down, a colleague of mine, Bruce from the Shads, we came to London in 1958, April. And a time when the music industry was very centralised. Everything was in London. Agents, managers, recording studios, recording companies. So if you didn't come to London, forget it.
So you can.
Still the same.
You think so?
No, it's different now. They're all over the place. Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle have all got the studios, their management agencies and so forth. So I think you can now live out of London or even get into the business by not even coming to London.
Ben, what's it like playing with the old boy?
You know, oh, it's fantastic. Nothing's better. No, it's good.
You enjoy it? Do you get on?
Yeah, extremely well. So, yeah, it's a good laugh. We have a good time.
Now, that Australian accent sort of depicts where you are now. You've been in Australia for some time.
Yes, 12 years we've lived in Western Australia. Sunny Western Australia.
So it's lovely coming back here, isn't it?
It's good. No, I enjoy coming back to Britain because I miss the high-rise dwellings and the congested motorways. It's great.
When you first started playing with Hank, I mean, did you enjoy his music? Was that the sort of music you were listening to? Or?
Not really at all, actually. I just started actually listening to it because I had to learn it to play it.
Right.
Before that, I hadn't really heard it, apart from like memories when I was younger and used to go see the odd concert here.
Did he teach you?
Sort of, bits and pieces, just sort of helped me when I needed it, sort of thing.
Because no one taught you, Hank, did? I mean, you taught yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, pretty much. I found out that was common of people of my age in those days. First of all, there weren't really any guitar teachers around, and secondly, most of us couldn't afford it anyway. So it was a question of listening to the radio, listening to records, and trying to work out the chords. And then I used to try to learn the tune, to play the tune and any sax or guitar phrases on the records. And it's a kind of laborious process, but it's fun. And it gives you a lot of sense of satisfaction that you've achieved
You've actually done it yourself.
Yeah.
And the rest is history, as they say.
Indeed it is.
Start at Guildford tonight.
Yep.
Excellent. I hope the tour goes well.
Thanks
both for coming in. You're going to play for us a little bit later. Anyway, change of tack now. Turning now to the pink house that's got them seeing red in Twickenham. Pauline Leach has painted the outside of her semi a shocking pink, but that colour clashes with the local council. So much so that it's taking Pauline to court.
Pauline just loves pink. Her caravan's pink, her top's pink, and her house is pink. Not pale pink, but a robust, not really Twickenham kind of pink. The local council is none too pleased. Pauline is mystified.
I can understand that not everybody would like the colour pink, but basically it is a free world. It's only a bit of fun. We're not the only house in the borough that is of colour.
Indeed, 6 doors away there's a salmon pink house, and all along the road a rainbow of coloured front doors. But Pauline is the one getting the stick.
Well, I think it's pretty ghastly. I think they could have done a better colour than that myself.
People on the opposite side of the road that I've spoken to think it's a bit bright. So
you better do a runner, because...
No, they're very nice people, actually.
And she's right. Mrs. Leach does have her fans. What do you think of it, then?
Well, it's something unusual, and if people like it, they can live it. Nothing to do with anybody else.
From my kitchen window, I can look right across and see it. And I've got so used to it, I don't particularly mind it.
You're a decorator and a man of taste.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a bit freaky myself.
It is, I know it's a little bit weird, but it's their favourite colour, isn't it? So.
Richmond Council are seeing red over Mrs. Leach's house. They say it's not in keeping with other properties along this road, and they've tried negotiating, so far unsuccessfully. They've now ordered her to paint it white, and it's all got rather messy. These are black times for Pauline Leach. So is it all making you feel rather blue?
It has been. It has been for some time, but I'm hoping to stay in the pink at the end of it all.
That's the spirit. In Twickenham, this is Gilly Parton for London Today.
It's just about it from me. More news at 3:20, and I'll be back with Anna Maria Ash for London Weekend Tonight, when we have an exclusive interview with the music man of the moment.
I know you're still living your life after death.
Won 2 awards at the Mobos, and he'll be telling me about his future plans. Just a quick look at the weather. This afternoon we'll see the odd spot of rain, and tonight will be wet and windy. Doesn't look very good, I'm afraid. Anyway, we'll have London Weekend Tonight. That's back at 6, but I'll leave you this lunchtime with Hank Marvin and his son Ben and their rendition of Eleanor Rigby. Bye-bye.
There are some home videos you'd probably rather not see again. And there are some you'll treasure forever. They can do it in front of their friends and family, but can they do it on the night when it's the moment of truth? ITV Saturday 7:10, following You've Been Framed at 6:40.
You know, prisoner cell block H. Well, next, Jerry sees what life is really like for women in jail in a few minutes.
Here is my recipe for creating a perfect cross-channel ferry. First, take a Parisian café. Sprinkle in a little shopping. Add a little something for the kids. Now, put it all together for a really great price.
Call Seafrance on 0990 711 711.
The man who lives here is lucky that he's got a watchful neighbour, because one day, returning his secateurs, she sensed that something was wrong. Horrified by what she saw, a threadbare tan sofa, she took the man straight to courts
and stayed with him while he chose a great value settee with up to 5 years interest-free credit, free for a year.
Next week, a couple visually assaulted by orange curtains and a floral carpet. Courts, take it easy.
Before we go in, there's something I wanted to say.
Yes?
Only I don't know how to ask.
Just ask.
Well, I thought maybe we ought to... Well, maybe we should...
Yes!
Enjoy your favourite programmes at any time. Use the subtitles on Teletext page 888 and you won't be lost for words.
And now, Police Camera Action presents another round of Good Idea, a Bad Idea. Good idea, opening the window when a police officer knocks.
Can't you see I'm on the phone?
Bad idea, opening the door without checking your mirror.
So fudge.
Company car drivers in the picture.
All new Police Camera Action, 8:30 Thursday.
It should be compulsory viewing for all world leaders.
Good stuff, baby.
It's a very neat idea.
Good stuff, baby.
And this is mainly due to the sadistic but childlike interplay between the characters.
Stop, stop, stop!
What?
Stop,
This is it! This is it! This is it!
He's a nut! Good stuff, baby.
I certainly recommend it.
Good stuff.
So join Roland Rivron and Wendy Douglas for more Good Stuff. Tuesdays at 6:30 on ITV.
Home and Away is in 45 minutes. First, we link up with Jerry inside.
It's 5:30 a.m. and I'm here at Estrella Jail in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'll spend the day with 15 female inmates who have volunteered to be shackled together at the ankles to work on the nation's first women's chain gang. We'll talk about their relationships, their children, how they ended up here, and what life is really like for women in jail. Now let's take a look at how they start their day.